Hey everyone, welcome to this practice lesson. In this one, I'm going to share a really cool practice with you guys. We're going to do it together, and I'm going to explain everything throughout this, every step that we go. Now, one of the things I want to talk about is if you have listened to everything that I've talked about so far in this section, you should be able to figure this out by yourself. And that's something I want you to do. This has actually helped me a lot to understand Python, this particular challenge. So I want you to, when we actually go through it, I want you to first try to do it yourself. You should be able to. It requires a little bit of thinking, but it's really not that complicated when you actually understand so far what we've talked about, especially like subscripting and a conversion, data type conversions and stuff like that. So it is a very simple thing to do. So what is this challenge or this practice? Essentially what we want is that we want to get a number between 10 and 99 from the user. So that's an input, right? That's pretty simple. And then we want to add the numbers first and second character and show it as results. So for example, the idea is that if, let's say, someone enters 74, okay, what's going to happen is that we're going to add 7 and 4 and return 11. So that is the challenge. That's basically what this program is going to do, right? And again, it's a very simple thing if you think about it, but I want you to think about this. Okay, I want you to use subscripts. That's very important. And I want you to use data type conversions to figure this out. And after you do it, continue watching this video. All right. So anyways, I hope, you pause this video right now and do it. If you haven't tried it, please do that. Please try to make this by yourself. But anyways, let's get into it. I'm going to assume right now that you try to do it either successfully or, you just want to watch me build this. So let's get into it. So the first thing you want to do is actually ask for an input, right? So I'm just going to say number equals input. By the way, the file for this is actually in the resource section, so you can actually access the replit code. So just like that, you're going to be able to actually fork it for yourself and use it. All right. So anyways, we're going to ask for an input. I'm going to say, please enter a number between 10 and 99. All right. So that's that. So that's our input, right? So the first thing you want to do is first get the character, right, get the first and second character of this supposed number that the user is going to enter. All right. So the way I do this is I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to say first char. All right. And I'm going to make this basically number, and we're going to use that bracket, right? So we're going to use 0. So 0 means that that's going to be the first character of the string they're going to enter. All right. So for example, if it's 75, that's going to be 7. That's the first initial one, right? Remember, it when you do a subscripting, it starts at 0, not 1. So I'm going to say second number, and this one's going to equal number and 1. So just like that, we got the first and second characters of this number they entered. But keep in mind, guys, remember, this is a string, not an actual integer, because the way you actually can add two numbers, because that's what we want to do, right? We want to add the numbers first and second characters. So the way you add this is that you need to make it into an integer first. So that's how we do it. So that's what we're going to do first, right? So the way I'm going to define this is I'm going to have a variable called result. All right. And I'm going to start with an integer. This is, again, we're converting something to an integer, right? So we're going to start with an integer. I'm going to say first char. So that's our first integer. And then we're going to say add this into the second number. So integer, again, we're going to convert this from a string to an integer. And just like that, this is going to have the result, right? And then the final thing we got to do is that now that we got the number, we want to display this, right? We want to display this as like in a sentence. That's what I want to do at least. So I want to turn this back into a string, because right now, if I actually print it, well, we can print it this way. We can print, I'm going to print it like this. For example, I can say result. So if I print this directly, that's pretty much going to do it, right? Because let's actually run this real quick and show you. So if I put, let's say 71, that should give us 8, right? There you go. So that gave us 8. That's pretty much done. But I want to make this a little bit more prettier. I want to say, let's actually add a space here. There you go. I want to say, you know, I want this thing to give me the result in a sentence. So I'm going to turn this back, because again, if you use this in a sentence right now, because this is an integer, right? It's just not going to work, right? So what we want to do is we want to turn this back into a string. So I'm just going to say result. Or actually, we can just print it in a, you know, in a sentence. It's fine. So I'm gonna say your final number is, and we're gonna say plus str and result. There we go. Here we go. So add a final parentheses. Then just like that, guys, now we can actually get it in a nice format. So I'm gonna say maybe 65. That's gonna give me what? 11. There you go. Your final number is 11. So just like that, I, you know, again, I got an input from the user, right? And I turned it first. I got the first and second character of that, and then I turned this into the result variable, and I turned this into an integer, so I could add these numbers to each other, and then I printed it in a nice string and turned this result, because this is an integer right now, turned it into a string right as we were processing this print. I mean, you could just make a whole different variable and turn it to a string, right? Like this, for example. That's what I was going to do originally. So I'm just going to say result final. And I could just say str result. So I could just, like, you know, kind of have this right here without this string function like this. You know, either way, it's completely fine. Again, up to you guys, but I just like wanted to do it right there. But again, if this is something you're going to be referring to later on throughout your program, obviously you want to define a you know, variable for it first. So you guys, anyways, that's pretty much it for this practice lesson. Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure you do this. I want you to be completely you know, familiar with this concept, you know, with the concept of subscripting, converting from different data types to other data types. So like, it's very, very important. Make sure you understand this fully before you move on to the next video, because we're going to talk about mathematical operators, stuff like that. So it's very important to get familiar with this stuff. So let me know if you have any questions. Again, the practice file is in the resources section. It's going to take you to this code, and you're going to be able to just fork it for yourself and use it. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. If not, I'll see you in the next lesson.